My family stole the $30,000 my grandmother left me for my first house, then disowned me when I demanded it back. But they drastically underestimated what I was willing to do to get my future. The first sign that something was terribly wrong came in the form of a text message from my mom. It was just 3 words. Call me. Complicated. My stomach twisted into a knot. Complicated was my family's code word for, your sister Ava has done something stupid again, and we're all expected to rally around and fix it. But this time felt different. My fiancé Liam and I were just 2 weeks away from putting in an offer on our first house. A charming little Cape Cod with a garden that was perfect for the golden retriever we planned to get. The centerpiece of our down payment was the $30,000 my grandma Helen had left me. My grandmother was my rock. While my parents were always caught up in the whirlwind of Ava's latest drama, her failed acting career, her disastrous move to Bali, her brief but expensive foray into becoming a life coach, Grandma Helen saw me. She saw the quiet kid who got good grades, worked a part-time job through high school, and meticulously saved for the future. When she passed, she left me that money with a handwritten note. For your first foundation, my darling, build something wonderful. And I was. Liam and I were building our future on that foundation. The money was sitting in a joint savings account with my parents. It was a leftover arrangement from when I was a teenager, one I'd never bothered to change because, well, they were my parents. I trusted them. What a fool I was. I called my mom, my heart thumping a nervous rhythm against my ribs. She answered on the first ring, her voice unnaturally cheerful. "Hi, sweetie. How are you?" she chirped. I cut right to it. "Mom, what's going on? What's complicated?" There was a pause. The silence on the line was heavy, thick with the betrayal I hadn't even realized had happened yet. "Well, honey," she began, drawing out the word, "you know how passionate Ava is about her new venture." Oh, I knew. Ava's new venture was a line of ethically sourced, gluten-free, artisanal dog treats infused with healing crystals. It was the most Ava thing I had ever heard. "What about it?" I asked, a cold dread beginning to pool in my gut. "She just needed a little seed money," my mom said, her voice dropping. "A little boost to get her off the ground. The investors are all lined up, but she needed to show she had capital." The world started to tilt. I felt the blood drain from my face as the pieces clicked into place with horrifying clarity. "Mom," I whispered, my voice trembling. "The money. My money. What did you do with my money?" Her sigh was a gust of guilt and flimsy justification. "We didn't do anything with it, honey. We invested it. We invested it in your sister. Family helps family." I couldn't breathe. $30,000. My foundation, my future, my grandmother's last gift to me, handed over to my flaky, irresponsible sister for a crystal-infused dog biscuit business. "You gave her my house money?" I finally choked out, tears blurring my vision. "Don't be so dramatic," my dad's voice suddenly cut in on speakerphone. "Ava's going to pay you back as soon as the business takes off. It's a sure thing." A sure thing. Like her pottery business that left them with a kiln in their garage and 1,000 lopsided mugs, or her jewelry line made from recycled coffee pods. My own mother was telling me that my future, the one I had worked and saved for, didn't matter as much as my sister's latest whim. The betrayal was so absolute it felt like a physical blow. I don't remember ending the call. I just remember sliding down the kitchen wall, phone clattering to the floor, and sobbing. That's how Liam found me an hour later. He walked in, took one look at my face, and was by my side in an instant, his arms wrapping around me. Between ragged breaths, I told him everything. The text, the phone call, the dog biscuits. I watched his face shift from confusion to concern, and then to a slow-burning fury I had never seen before. His jaw was tight and a muscle ticked a steady, angry beat in his temple. He didn't say much. He just held me, let me cry it all out, and when I was done, he gently wiped my tears. Then he stood up. His movements were calm, deliberate, and terrifying. He picked up my phone from the floor, unlocked it, and found my dad's number. My mom and dad's smiling faces from their last cruise popped up on the screen. He hit the call button and put it on speaker. My dad answered, his voice still full of that infuriating, dismissive confidence. "Hello?" Liam's voice was eerily calm, devoid of any emotion, which was far scarier than if he had been yelling. "This is Liam," he said. "I'm going to say this once, and only once. You have stolen $30,000 from your daughter, and you have jeopardized our future. Now hold on a minute, son." My dad started, but Liam cut him off, his voice like ice. "No, you hold on. You have 24 hours to get that money back into her account. Every single cent. Sell a car, cash out your 401k, get it back from Ava. I don't care how you do it. But if that money is not in her account by this time tomorrow, you can consider your invitation to our wedding revoked. Both of you. The clock starts now." He hung up the phone before my dad could even form a response, plunging the room into a deafening silence. The silence that filled the apartment after Liam hung up was heavier than any argument. I stared at him, my breath caught somewhere in my chest. A part of me was horrified. He had just declared war on my family, but a much larger and far more wounded part of me was flooded with a profound, earth-shattering sense of relief. For the first time in my life, someone was standing in my corner, unequivocally. Someone saw the injustice and wasn't asking me to be the bigger person, to be patient, to understand. He was simply demanding what was right. "Liam," I whispered, my voice hoarse. He came and knelt in front of me, taking my hands in his. His were warm and steady. "I'm sorry if I overstepped," he said, his eyes searching mine. "But I will not let them do this to you, to us. This isn't just about the money, you know that, right? This is about the fact that they see you as a resource, not a daughter. That stops today." I just nodded, fresh tears spilling over as I collapsed into his arms. He was right. It had never really been about the money. It took less than 5 minutes for the retaliation to begin. My phone, which I'd left on the counter, began buzzing like an angry hornet. A string of texts from my mom. The first one read, "I have never been so disrespected in my entire life." It was followed by, "How could you let your fiancé threaten your father after everything we've done for you?" Then came the guilt trip. "We were just trying to help your sister. Family is supposed to support each other. I guess you've forgotten that." My father was more direct. His text was a single furious sentence in all caps. "Tell your boyfriend to stay out of our family business or he'll regret it." But the message that truly broke my heart came from Ava. "Heard you sent your attack dog after Mom and Dad. Real classy. I was going to make you a partner once the business took off. Guess you'd rather have a stupid house than see your own sister succeed. Enjoy being alone." Alone. That word hit me like a punch to the gut. It was their ultimate weapon. For years, every time I stood up for myself, I was accused of isolating myself, of not being a team player, of choosing my own path over the chaotic, all-consuming family. I started to shake, the old familiar feeling of guilt washing over me. Maybe I was being unreasonable. Maybe I should have just waited for Ava to pay me back. Liam saw the look on my face. He gently took the phone from my hand, read the messages, and his expression hardened. "No," he said, his voice firm. "We are not doing this. We are not playing their game." He powered my phone off and put it in a drawer. "For the next 23 hours, they don't exist. It's just you and me. We'll turn it back on at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Either the money is there or it isn't. No more arguments, no more manipulation. Just a simple outcome." The next 24 hours were the longest of my life. We tried to act normal. We ordered pizza, watched a movie, and talked about the house, but the ultimatum hung in the air between us. I kept replaying conversations with my parents in my head, searching for a sign that they would do the right thing. I remembered my dad teaching me how to ride a bike, my mom baking my favorite cake for my birthday. How could those same people be so cruel? A sliver of hope remained, a naive belief that their love for me would ultimately outweigh their obligation to fix Ava's messes. I clung to that hope like a life raft. Liam, ever the pragmatist, was quieter. He held my hand, he made me tea, but I could see in his eyes that he was preparing for the worst. At 6:55 p.m. the next day, we were sitting on the couch, side by side, the kitchen drawer containing my phone, feeling like it held a ticking bomb. "Ready?" Liam asked softly. I nodded, my throat too tight to speak. He retrieved the phone and powered it on. The moment it connected to the network, it exploded with notifications. Dozens of missed calls from my parents and Ava, voicemails, and a flood of text messages. I ignored them all, my fingers trembling as I opened my banking app. I logged in, my heart pounding in my ears. The page loaded. I scrolled down to the savings account, my eyes searching for that beautiful, life-changing number, $30,000. But it wasn't there. The balance was exactly what it had been yesterday. 0. A hollow, empty void where my future was supposed to be. My hope shattered into a million pieces. "They didn't do it," I whispered, the reality crashing down on me. Liam pulled me into a hug, his grip tight and protective. "I'm so sorry," he murmured into my hair. Just then, a new message pinged on the screen. It was from my mother, sent at exactly 7:01 p.m. It wasn't an apology. It wasn't an explanation. It was a declaration. The message simply said, "The money has been invested. As we told you, your sister has already ordered equipment. It's gone. You made your choice when you let that man threaten us. You chose him over your family. Now live with it. Don't contact us again." Reading that message felt like stepping off a cliff. The ground just disappeared from beneath me. "Don't contact us again." The words were so cold, so final. They hadn't just stolen my money. They had disowned me for daring to ask for it back. They had chosen Ava's fantasy over their daughter's reality. I felt a strange and terrifying numbness creep over me, pushing back the tears. It was the shock, I think, the sheer, unadulterated audacity of it all. They stole from me, and somehow I was the one being punished. I was the one being cut off. Liam read the text over my shoulder, and I felt him tense, a low growl of pure rage rumbling in his chest. He took a deep, steadying breath. "Okay," he said, his voice dangerously calm. "Okay, this changes things." He gently pried the phone from my numb fingers and set it aside. "I need you to listen to me very carefully," he said, turning to face me, his hands on my shoulders. "We are not going to let them win. We are not going to let them destroy what we've built. We are still going to get our house." I just stared at him, my mind a blank slate of grief and disbelief. "How, Liam? The money is gone. They said it's gone. We can't afford the down payment now." "My love," he said, his gaze intense and unwavering, "your parents made a very big mistake. They think the only person they have to answer to is their golden child daughter. They're wrong." He stood up and started pacing the small living room, a general planning his campaign. "They think this is a family matter. We're about to make it a legal one, and a financial one, and a very, very public one." I swallowed hard. "What are you talking about?" He stopped pacing and looked at me. "Your grandmother left you that money in her will, right? Was it specified for you and you alone?" I nodded slowly. "Yes, the will was very clear. It was my inheritance." A grim smile touched Liam's lips. "Good. Then this isn't just them taking money from a joint account. This is them misappropriating your inheritance. That's a whole different ballgame. I have a friend from college, Marcus, who's a bulldog of a lawyer. I'm calling him first thing in the morning." My head was spinning. A lawyer? Suing my own parents? The very idea felt like a betrayal of my entire upbringing, where keeping it in the family was the 11th commandment. But what family was left to betray? They had burned that bridge themselves with a single text message. But Liam, a lawsuit, that could take years. It could cost a fortune. He shook his head. "We're not going to sue them. Not yet. We're going to send them a demand letter from a lawyer. It's official. It's scary. And it outlines exactly what will happen if they don't return the money within a specified time frame. We'll give them 72 hours this time. He then walked over to his laptop and opened it. And now for phase 2. He started typing, his fingers flying across the keyboard. He pulled up Zillow, the real estate website, and navigated to our town. Then he started searching for rental properties. "What are you doing?" I asked, confused. He didn't look up from the screen. "Your parents co-own a rental property downtown, don't they? The duplex on Maple Street?" My blood ran cold. "Yes, my dad inherited it from his uncle. They rent out both units. It's their main source of retirement income." Liam nodded, a predatory glint in his eye. "Exactly. And rental income is public information. And so are tenant reviews." He pulled up a local site where tenants could review landlords and properties. He created an account. "What are you going to do?" I whispered, a sense of both dread and vindication rising in my throat. He finally looked at me, and his expression was stone cold. "I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to leave a 1-star review. Not as their daughter's fiancé, but as a concerned citizen who has learned that the landlords, John and Mary, have a habit of misappropriating funds and are currently embroiled in a legal dispute over a stolen inheritance of $30,000. I'll mention that any potential tenant should be extremely cautious about entering into a financial agreement with people of such questionable character. I'll post it on every rental site I can find." It was brilliant. It was vicious. It was perfect. It wasn't slander if it was true. It hit them where they lived, not just in their home, but in their wallets. It would scare off potential tenants and put their precious retirement plan in jeopardy. It was a move they would never see coming. But as Liam's finger hovered over the post button, another message notification lit up my phone screen. It wasn't from my parents. It was a picture message from an unknown number. My heart leaped into my throat. Liam paused and we both looked at the screen. I hesitantly tapped the notification. An image loaded. It was a screenshot of a bank transfer confirmation, a transfer of $3,000, and below it a message from my sister, Ava. "Here's the first installment," it read. "I told you I'd pay you back. You should really learn to trust your family. Now tell your psycho fiancé to call off his lawyers." The screenshot hung there on the screen, a pathetic digital olive branch. $3,000. A mere tenth of what they stole. It wasn't a payment. It was a test. A way for them to gauge our desperation, to see if they could placate us with scraps while they kept the lion's share. Ava's message was the final nail in the coffin of any lingering familial sentiment I had. You should really learn to trust your family. The nerve, the absolute galling hypocrisy of it all was breathtaking. They wanted trust after committing the ultimate act of betrayal. They wanted us to call off a war they had started. Liam looked from the phone to me, his expression unreadable. For a terrifying second, I wondered if he would see this as a sign of progress, a reason to back down. But then he let out a short, sharp laugh, completely devoid of humor. $3,000, he said, shaking his head in disbelief. "They think we're idiots. They think they can buy our silence for 10 cents on the dollar." He looked at me, his eyes blazing with a protective fire. "This isn't enough, is it?" I straightened my spine, the numbness I'd been feeling finally receding, replaced by a cold, hard resolve. I thought of my Grandma Helen, of her note, "Build something wonderful." This wasn't just about a house anymore. It was about honoring her memory. It was about standing up for the person she always believed I could be. "No," I said, my voice clear and steady. "It's an insult." That was all he needed to hear. He turned back to his laptop, his jaw set. "Then we proceed." He hit the post button. The review went live. Then he found another site and another. He posted it everywhere he could, a digital scorched earth campaign against their reputation as landlords. While he was doing that, I picked up my phone. I didn't text Ava back. Instead, I created a new group chat. I added my mother, my father, and my sister. Then I attached the screenshot Ava had just sent me. My fingers flew across the screen as I typed out the message I had been born to write, the words I had swallowed for a lifetime. "This is not a negotiation," I began. "This pathetic attempt to buy us off for $3,000 is insulting. You stole my inheritance. You chose a failing, ridiculous business venture over my future. You disowned me for demanding what was mine. The time for quiet family discussions is over. As of this moment, a demand letter is being drafted by our lawyer. It will be sent to your home and to your rental property. It will outline the full extent of your theft and the legal consequences, which include but are not limited to felony charges for misappropriation of inheritance funds. Furthermore, public reviews have been posted on all major rental websites detailing your financial misconduct. We imagine this will make it difficult to secure new tenants for the duplex on Maple Street. This is not a threat. This is a promise of what is to come." I took a deep breath and typed the final lines. "You have 24 hours, not to pay us back in installments, not to make excuses. You have 24 hours to deposit the remaining $27,000 into my account. If the full amount is not there by 8 p.m. tomorrow, the demand letter goes out, the reviews stay up permanently, and we will proceed with legal action. We will not be contacting you again. Your next communication will be from our lawyer." I hit send. The immediate aftermath was a flurry of panicked, angry, and pleading texts in the group chat, which I ignored, promptly muting the conversation. Liam wrapped his arm around me, and we sat in silence, watching the screen, the ball now firmly in their court. The next day was agonizing, but this time it was different. It wasn't the silence of hope, it was the silence of a siege. We knew we had deployed our weapons. We were just waiting to see the flag of surrender. At 7:30 p.m., my banking app pinged with a notification. My heart hammered against my ribs. I opened it, my hands shaking, and there it was, a deposit. For exactly $27,000. It was all there. Every last cent. They had folded. The relief was so overwhelming it brought me to my knees. Liam held me as I sobbed, not with sadness this time, but with the sheer, unburdening release of a battle won. A few minutes later, my dad sent me a private message. "The money is there. Please take down the reviews." I showed it to Liam. I typed back a single word. "No." He had asked me to live with my choice. Now they had to live with theirs. The reviews stayed up. We later heard through the grapevine that they had to sell the duplex at a loss because they couldn't find tenants. Ava's artisanal dog treat business imploded within 6 weeks after she spent all the money on a branding retreat in Tulum. I haven't spoken to any of them since. Cutting them off was the healthiest decision I ever made. 2 months later, Liam and I closed on the little Cape Cod with the perfect garden. As we stood on the porch, keys in hand, he turned to me and smiled. "Grandma Helen would be proud," he said. And I knew he was right. My foundation wasn't just the $30,000. It was the strength I found when I was pushed to the brink. It was the unwavering support of the man who stood by my side. And it was the wonderful life we were just beginning to build on our own terms, finally free.